So you want to know how much money you really need to start selling options? I bet if you've asked this question, you've heard answers all over the map, right? $1,000, maybe 500, sometimes even less. Well, let's get into it, because the honest answer is a whole lot more nuanced and, frankly, way more important than just some random number.
And here's the thing. Those answers are super misleading. It's not that they're technically a lie. Yeah, you can probably open an account and place a trade with that little money. But it totally, completely misses the entire point. It doesn't tell you a thing about what it takes to actually trade successfully, how to manage your risk, or how to stick around and not blow up your account in the first month. And that gets us right into what I call the minimum capital myth. See, the truth is, there is no magic number. The amount of money you need depends 100% on your strategy. Most people starting out, they're just thinking about one thing, income. But they're completely ignoring two concepts that are way, way more important.
And those two things are capital efficiency and risk assignment. Now, capital efficiency is just a fancy way of asking, is every single dollar in my account working its hardest for me? And risk assignment is all about knowing, down to the penny, what you stand to lose on a trade. You know, these two ideas are the bedrock of trading. If you only focus on income without these, it's like trying to build a house on a sand dune. It's just not going to work.
All right, so let's forget the hype you see online and actually break this down by real strategies. Because once you get how these trades actually work, the capital you need is going to make a whole lot more sense. We'll start with the most basic, foundational strategy for anyone selling options.
And that is the cash-secured put. It's pretty much the bread and butter for option sellers. The rule here is dead simple. For every one put option you sell, you have to have enough cash sitting in your account to buy 100 shares of that stock at the strike price you chose. You know, just in case the stock price drops and you have to buy those shares.
And this right here, this is exactly where that $2,000 myth comes from. You want to sell a put on a $20 stock? Bam! You need $2,000 set aside just sitting there to secure that put. A $50 stock? Now you need $5,000. So yeah, you can start with $2,000, but look at how much that handcuffs you.
And that's the real kicker. When you start out with that bare minimum amount of money, you have basically zero flexibility. You can afford to make one trade on one cheap stock. That's it. You have no ammo left to manage the position if it goes south. For instance, you can't roll the trade to a later date for a credit, which is a key defensive move, because you just don't have the capital to do it. You can't diversify, you can't do anything else. You're stuck.
So, what's the other side of the coin? Well, that brings us to the covered call. Now, this is pretty similar when it comes to how much capital you need, but you're starting from a totally different position. Instead of holding cash, you have to already own at least 100 shares of the stock before you can sell that call option.
And this table really lays out the trade-off perfectly. The pro is obvious, right? You get to generate some extra income on stocks you already have. But the cons, they're pretty big. All that capital is tied up, locked into those 100 shares, and your potential profit is capped. If the stock suddenly skyrockets, too bad, your gains are limited. It's a great strategy for a large portfolio, for sure, but it's not exactly a great way to grow a small account.
So, this is the point where people start to get a little impatient. They see these high capital requirements for the basic strategies, and they start looking around for a shortcut. And this usually leads them to a way more complicated strategy that seems to promise all the benefits without that big price tag.
And that shortcut is called the poor man's covered call, or PMCC for short. Here's the idea. Instead of buying 100 expensive shares, you buy a single long-term call option that's deep in the money. This option kind of acts like a stand-in for the shares, but it costs way less. Then, you can sell your short-term calls against that option to generate your income. It's basically a leveraged play.
But, and this is the most important but, look at the trade-off. What you save in capital, you pay for, big time, in complexity and management. A regular covered call is kind of like set it and forget it. A PMCC? Oh no, you have to constantly manage the relationship between two different options with different expiration dates, different sensitivities. It's an entirely different and much more difficult game.
And this brings us to an absolutely critical point that so many people get wrong. Lower capital does not mean lower risk. In fact, a lot of the time, it's the complete opposite. When you use a complex leverage strategy like a PMCC just to get around a capital requirement, you are dramatically increasing your risk of making a huge mistake and wiping out your account.
So you can see how chasing these little low capital shortcuts just opens up a whole new can of worms. So that brings us all the way back to the main question. What is the real amount of capital you need to start? so you don't have to rely on these crazy workarounds? Well, it all depends on what you're trying to do.
But start with the first level. If your only goal is to just learn the ropes, place a few trades, see how the software works, get a feel for it, then okay, $2,000 to $3,000 is a decent starting point. But we have to be super clear here. This is your tuition money. This is not for making real income. This is the cost of your education. Now, this slide gives you the honest-to-goodness breakdown. You want to move past just learning and actually start generating some consistent, even if it's small, income, you need to be in that $5,000 to $10,000 range. And if you want real flexibility, the power to trade different strategies, to defend your positions, to diversify, you really got to be looking at $15,000 to $25,000, probably even more.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. When you're undercapitalized, you can't make smart decisions based on your strategy. You're forced to just cross your fingers and hope the trade works out, because you don't have the money to fix it if it doesn't. And folks, that isn't trading. That's just a trip to the casino.
So if you take away only one thing from all this, let it be this. Selling options is a fantastic strategy, but it only works if your account size actually fits the strategy you're trying to run. Trying to squeeze a high capital strategy into a low capital account is, without a doubt, the fastest way to fail in this game.
And that really leaves us with one last question, doesn't it? What actually happens when traders try to force it? When they try to squeeze income out of an account that's just too small? What are the mistakes they make, and why do they blow up so badly? That's a pretty deep topic, and maybe one for another day. Thanks for joining me.